draft simulation has been published, and we are going to analyze it. The Bears have 3 picks in the first 2 rounds, at positions 103, 39, and 41. Now, let's see who is selected for the Bears. Before revealing the 10th pick, it's important to look at the first 9 selections made. The Titans picked 1 player, while the Browns went with another. The Giants took a 3rd player, which meant the Patriots secured a prospect in the 4th position. A player was selected by the Jaguars in the 5th spot, and another went to the Raiders in the 6th. A name went to the Jets in the 7th position, while the Panthers picked a player at 8th, and another player filled the 9th spot. For Bears fans, these picks between quarterbacks and defensive players who shouldn't be selected at number 10 are exciting. The departure of some players from the draft is a positive, while others' exits are disappointing. There are also some notable players still available who the Bears might consider for the 10th pick. If this simulation plays out as described, what would your pick be? There are several issues to debate, especially whether a certain player can play as a left tackle in the NFL. For some teams, the answer is yes, while for others, it's less clear. Some optimism has been mentioned regarding a prospect, despite uncertainties about his measurements. He is ranked 5th in a certain ranking, and in this context, there's not much concern about whether he will play as a tackle or if he'll be moved to guard. The Bears' starting offensive line is already considerably better on paper after a busy free agency, and this player could be used wherever needed. A new coach would love to have a player whose agility and pass protection skills align perfectly with his system. The only question is whether he can adapt to any position. The challenge is that, aside from the Bears' left tackle position on the offensive line, it gets tricky due to the defense of the best available player. Right now, if he can't play as a left tackle, the question is, where would he play? Injuries may arise, and someone might not live up to expectations, but there's already a situation defined regarding another player. Although his contract expires after this season, he is expected to stay beyond this year unless he performs extremely poorly. A 3rd player signed a 3-year contract, and another should remain with the team. The question is, where would this player play if not as a left tackle? And not just this year. If you select a player and declare you believe in his potential, even if he needs to sit out a year, the situation becomes complicated. If you believe he can play across the offensive line, it's still questionable because, once again, unless changes happen, certain players are expected to stay. Extensions are believed to be coming, and this is the only viable position unless other issues arise again. The situation is so complex that it would be necessary to consider including this player. However, clearly, this is not the mindset when entering the draft and the decision to select this player. The situation with Will Campbell is quite fascinating, but it is clearly not the approach considered when thinking about the draft. There is a belief that he has the potential to become a standout player, and that is an important aspect. When a franchise decides to draft a player, that decision carries significant weight. I question whether the team sees him as a left tackle, and if that's not the case, what would his real position be, given the offensive line's challenges and the clear lack of depth? However, I wouldn't select a player in the 10th overall position just to be a backup, especially someone who could remain a reserve for a long time. If he is drafted and doesn't earn a spot this year, but is expected to start the following season, I would accept that reality. However, it's complicated to predict his final role. Although I don't foresee a serious injury, if selected, I must trust the confidence the team places in his ability as a left tackle. I believe Will Campbell's speed, agility, and strength align well with that role in the league. He could also stand out as a guard, especially considering his measurements. It's worth noting that measurements of 32 and 5/8 were mentioned, and this year is an exception, as many teams are using measurements based on training rather than the combine. This is because almost all offensive line players showed longer arms during training, while he presented with 33. While his wingspan was an 1/8 of an inch shorter, it's still considered a little below average, but perhaps this affects how some teams evaluate his position. It was said that they revisit the footage before analyzing the measurements, and if something raises doubts, those measurements are discarded. Therefore, if he is selected and establishes himself as a left tackle, This could be the result of certain specialists' influence, because I don't think the current leadership would have made this decision without support. This situation promises to be interesting because I believe the selection is appropriate, as I truly believe in his potential as a left tackle. However, I'm unclear about the team's vision at this moment. Regarding the draft, there will be comprehensive coverage of all the team's relevant issues during the event. As soon as the draft starts, picks will be communicated quickly, without commercial interruptions. A thorough analysis of each pick is expected, making the event an ideal reference point for team coverage throughout the 7 rounds over 3 days. Now, an intriguing pick was made by the team at the 38th position, which really excites me. Before diving into the details, let's talk about the draft hats that are available. Don't forget to grab one before draft night to show your support at any meetup or while watching the game with friends. There are several styles available, and some options are being shown on screen. Regarding this pick, Meka Ibuka stands out as an excellent option for the position. I consider Ibuka a first-round level player, and this would be a great addition to the team. Although wide receiver is not a priority, getting a top-level athlete around the 40 pick is an opportunity that should not be underestimated, as the value is extremely appealing. Moreover, the wide receiver position remains a clear need, making this selection very logical. This player is an exemplary contributor who, in various situations, sacrifices his personal production for the success of the team. If you're considering a player ranked between 20 and 25 who is available at pick 40, it's almost impossible to pass up on that opportunity, as the value is incredibly appealing. Furthermore, the wide receiver position continues to be a significant need, which makes this pick even more relevant. This player is a true team player, often sacrificing his own production for other stars who came through Ohio State. For example, during the Jackson Smith-Njigba period or when Marvin Harrison Jr. stood out. This year, we have Jeremiah Smith, a rookie who is here to make a difference, while the player in focus is in his final year. He returned for this season and is comfortable taking on the number 2 role for an 18-year-old. He does the less glamorous tasks and stands out as a committed blocker. Immediately, there could be a shift regarding DJ next year if there's interest possibly trading him for draft capital and rearranging those resources. I'm not suggesting that, as I greatly appreciate DJ Moore, but that's the logic teams tend to follow. You bring in players who stand out, and if there's an option to move a high-salary player, that approach is often utilized. If he's available, I'd be really excited about the pick because I believe he would fit in perfectly. Look at some of the key plays that were made. He made key blocks to open up space. What's clear is that without blocking, there is no progress. This player will block, and I truly believe he would integrate very well into the team. Would you consider selecting Ibuka in the 2nd round? As I mentioned, he would be an excellent pick at this point, and getting him in the 20s would represent exceptional value. Securing him at pick 39 would not make me hesitate. Additionally, you could opt for his teammate and national champion at pick 41. I have great respect for him at this stage of the draft. In the range between 39 and 41, if you don't select a particular player at pick 10 or opt for others in the 1st round, I believe these players would be ideal candidates in this range. This would be my preference. I see a bright future for him. Many draft analysts consider him a strong player, which he definitely can be, but that trait doesn't summarize his full potential. He embraced this role this year, resulting in a slight dip in his average yards per carry. He was frequently used in short yardage plays due to his size and strength. He had a remarkable performance in the 40-yard dash. Keep an eye on his performance. This player can make big plays. He's capable of running between tackles, evading, and also catching passes. He shared the carries, which was a smart strategy, as it provided good balance. It would be similar here, because you could combine him with another player. This athlete has great potential. He's not limited to short yardage situations. He is capable of being a complete running back, able to make long plays, and also win yards by powering through tackles. I believe he's an exceptional running back, probably my first choice. This athlete showcases impressive abilities. He is much more than just a specialist for short yardage situations. He can operate effectively as a player capable of contributing on all 3 downs, able to make impactful plays and stretch the field. He also has the knack for lowering his shoulder to gain extra yards when running between the tackles. In my perspective, he stands out as a top contender, likely ranking as my third favorite in this draft, just behind two others. When reflecting on these three picks, you're welcome to share your preferred choice. If there is assurance in selecting a tackle, then this draft looks promising. Although it leans towards offensive talents, acquiring the best defensive lineman at 70 and possibly adding more defensive pieces on the third day, along with a tight end, could lead to an exciting training camp. I find that to be very appealing. My favorite choices are for Campbell, for Uka, and for Quinton Judkins. I encourage you to express your opinions in the comments and stay connected for further updates coming soon. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The tension between DJ Moore and Montez Sweat may be the biggest story brewing within the Chicago Bears locker room. A leaked video, surfacing just days ago, shows Moore storming out of a team meeting after an exchange with Sweat, leaving fans to wonder, is Moore really refusing to play alongside his teammate? The video, which is yet to be fully explained, has sent shockwaves through the NFL community, with analysts and fans alike speculating about the possibility of a fractured relationship between the Bears' star wide receiver and their newly acquired Pro Bowl defensive end. Could this be the beginning of a rift that disrupts the Bears' chances of success? Rumors about Moore's dissatisfaction with Sweat have been circulating for weeks. Sources close to the team suggest Moore has been increasingly vocal about his unwillingness to share the field with Sweat, citing a lack of chemistry and an uncomfortable working environment. Although both players are cornerstones of the Bears' future, Moore's frustrations could boil over into more than just a few tense moments in meetings. With a hefty contract extension in his pocket, the wide receiver's position has never been stronger. Yet it seems the tension in the locker room might be growing, threatening to overshadow his on-field performances. To make matters more intriguing, insiders have reported that Moore's concerns may go beyond just personal dislike. Some believe that Moore's frustration stems from Sweat's larger-than-life presence on the defense, which some players, including Moore, feel might be overshadowing their own contributions. With Sweat's breakout year, including a career-high 12.5 sacks and his ability to lead two teams in a single season, it's clear that the defensive powerhouse is quickly becoming the face of the Bears' defense. But could Moore, who is already thriving in his role as a primary receiver, feel sidelined in a system where the spotlight is now firmly on Sweat? Despite Moore's dramatic reaction in the video, the Bears' front office and head coach Matt Eberflus are remaining tight-lipped about the situation. However, with Moore's clear discontent, the question arises, how will the team handle this internal tension? With both players under long-term contracts, any move to separate them would be a monumental decision for the franchise. Could the Bears find a way to patch things up before the season begins? Or will Moore's reported refusal to play alongside Sweat be the start of a major roster shakeup? As the days go by, speculation only intensifies. Fans are left waiting for an official statement from the Bears, but the unanswered questions loom large. Was Moore's exit from the meeting truly a sign of deeper unrest? How will the Bears balance the egos of their most prominent players? As more details slowly drip out, one thing is clear. The situation between DJ Moore and Montez Sweat is far from over. It could reshape the trajectory of the Bears season in ways no one could have anticipated. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.